You've seen him before. Gerald Huggins of Draft HBCU joins the show, but not to break down any prospects, but to dive into his own life and journey within football. Oh, yeah, it's Locked On HBCU. Play my music.
You are Locked On HBCU, your daily podcast covering HBCU sports. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, family? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On HBCU podcast, your number one daily one-stop shop for everything HBCU athletics, Monday through Friday, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I, of course, am Darian Gray, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South, Texas Southern alum and former TSU Herald sports editor and current contributing writer at USA Today's Saints Wire. And I appreciate you for making Locked On HBCU your first listen of the day every day. And remember, just because the mic cuts off does not mean that the journey is over. It just means it's time to follow me on Twitter at South Exclusives. I'm glad that even with the technical difficulties that we are having right now at this moment, I forgot to record an intro. I'll be transparent with you. Even with this, I was still able to hit my point at the bottom of South Exclusive. Starts with an S, ends with an S. Today's episode start and ends with the same exact topic, and that is Gerald Huggins. We really just come on here and have a fun conversation for 30 minutes about his life within football and beyond football, and a nice little, I make him say something good about Southern hip hop in the middle of the show. So without further ado, and hopefully with better, not hopefully, but with definitely with a little bit better video quality, here goes Gerald Huggins.
Now, many people know you, Gerald, from Draft HBCU. We've come on the show together many of times and discussed these players and done scouting profiles and things of that nature. But let's wind the clock back to when you first linked up with that group. How did you first connect with Draft HBCU?
Man, I was following Malik. I think I started following Malik in maybe 2019, 2020. And then I just used to see, he used to write for the Raiders. I used to just watch him, and he used to like randomly post HBCU players and stuff. I saw he went to Morgan. I was like, okay, cool. You know, my dad went to Morgan, Hall of Fame there. So, you know, off the rip, it's like, all right, it's all love. And then, you know, he kept tweeting out this hashtag Draft HBCU players. And I'm like, man, that's kind of cool. I'm like, yo, that's dope. Like, it's just very attractive. Like when you hear it, like Draft HBCU players. And it's like, all right, let me reach out to him. So I reached out to him on the DM, and then I was just like, all right, cool. Let's just talk. And we talked for a little minute, man. And then he was just like, whatever you need, whatever you can do to help, you know, just give me ideas and just go from there. And then it was him and Tim started it. And, you know, so I spoke to both of them. And then I just hit the ground running, man. I had so many ideas. I just didn't know where to really, you know, funnel all those ideas to any publications. So I was working with like HBCU Game Day a little bit. You know, I did some freelance stuff with the Panthers on the Panthers Wire, and I did the Redskins Wire a little while ago, USA Today. But I just had all these ideas. I just didn't know what to do with it. And then Malik just literally just like said, listen, do your thing. Like, do you, be you. I'm not here to change who you are. He just like, just run it by me. And I'm more than likely, I'm not going to say no. And that's how it is, man. We became like best of friends too, me, him, and Tim. Like that's what made it even doper. Like we became best of friends. So I'm very appreciative of Malik and Tim, man. I don't give them praise enough. I want to do it more. And I know everybody sees me posting the most or whatever, or however it may be. But it's not just me. It's far from just me. It's the whole team. It's literally me, Tim, Malik, Nooks, Jalil, you name it, Kalen, Greg, DeLon. It's so many of us. And we're small. I said so many. They're small, but we're mighty. You know, we cover all bases. You know what I mean? So it's just a blessing, man. I really love what we did, what we're doing at Draft HBCU, man.
Yeah, and I think that something to note is that, yes, the team is growing, but then I feel like your craft is also growing. So in the time between first joining Draft HBCU to where you are today, how do you feel like you've seen your scouting develop over that time?
Man, I was terrible when I first started. when I look at what I am now and I look back, because it's just more than that. Cause we do so much. Like we do our own editing,
Right?
We do our own graphic, all the graphics and the video games and the video, all that. We do that. Like we do that, and it's like, wow. Like I'm really night and day. Like you, even if you just look at my graphics from 2021, you look at them now, you like, yeah, like what were you doing, bro? And I'm just like, yo, and that's my thing. I'm just like when I played, I need repetition. If I rep it, I'll get good at it. Even when I do martial arts, when I rep it, I get good at it. So I just kept making graphics and writing and here and just looking at film. So like, and that's my like one thing. Look, being in this business has taught me, and being with Draft HBCU was like, you cannot give up. Because I literally would reach. When people ask me how I get film, I'm like, yo, that's hard. Like, I got to reach out to every HBCU, and they don't be answering the phone like that. So I had to reach out to every HBCU coach, trying to get to the video coordinator, and be like, hey, I just need, I need some film, so me and my team, we go, promote your guys, scout your guys, get them scouting reports, and be able to hand those scouting reports out to necessary parties. No, that's not easy. So when I'm on Twitter and Instagram and all this stuff, I see people all their opinions. I'm like, where you get that opinion from? Who you watching? Like, how'd you get film? Because I know how hard it is to get film. So when people just come at me with all this different stuff, I'm like, okay. So that's one thing it taught me a lot. It's like, yo, you got to be persistent, and you got to rep. So my thing is like, and let me attribute to the fact that Malik's good is a really good scout. He has an eye. And then I've been reaching out to guys like Emory Hunt. Reach out to guys like DP from Locked On. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
he just joined Locked On Clemson, right?
Man. So
right?
I listen to him and Keith Sanchez, and Eric Galco from the Shrine Bowl, Shane from the Shrine Bowl, guys like that. I just been listening to them and learning from them, and just I'm a sponge, and it's like, okay, I want to tell him. Oh, Doug Whaley from the XFL, like he's been very much a help. Like it's just. And he gave me some of some real critique. Like I was like, oh dang, should I even be doing this anymore? But I was like, nah, I got this. Like, oh, I'm good. And that's just my mentality, even with football. When I played, coach was like, you're this, that. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna prove you wrong, coach. I ain't worried about that. It's all good. Watch me get it right this time. And that's just been my mentality. And I want to make sure that football mentality goes into my reports. And my reports they're thorough. Like it takes a while to do them. I sit and watch maybe 3 to 4 games on a player, and I literally comb through it. It might take me longer than most, but I'm just like, no, I want to make sure that definitely with our guys, we're making sure that we see every little thing. Cause I don't want to lie to our guy. A lot of people on social media, they lie to our guy. I saw a guy trying to say it was a kid from Grambling State. I was a corner last year, and he tried to say he was compared to Sauce Gardner. I'm just like, why are you doing that to that kid? You know what I mean? That's not cool. Like we be in the group chat.
Right. I've seen it. We've seen it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing that to that kid? That's why I tell some people, like, just temper your expectations for our kids. I'm telling you, I'm watching the tape. You're looking at the stats. I'm watching the tape. The kid he's solid, but he has this, that, and to work on. And then the fact that now we pumping out the reports and putting it out there. So now it's a paper trail, so no one can say. I stand right behind anything I put. I trust my eyes more than I trust anybody else. Do I trust other people's opinions, the ones that are actually doing the work? Sure. But my eyes are always going to be number one. So trusting my eyes, being persistent, repetitive, and just not giving up, man. That's really what's made this scouting thing just blossom for me lately, man.
And I'll ask you this. I'm sure that when you first started in scouting, defensive line was your favorite position to watch, favorite position to scout. Has that changed, or is that still the same? You sticking to your roots?
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I like watching defensive backs now. And as much as I talk trash about DBs, man, I love watching DBs play, though. I can't stand defensive backs, but I love them, but I can't stand them because it's just this. Every time they do this, I hate it. Oh, it makes me so
weren't even close. Weren't even close.
They get burnt 40 yards down the field. They go like this. I said, oh, man, I can't.
He ain't catch it, though.
He ain't catch it. I get you. And that's why but you know what's crazy? They're like, them and the offensive line are so hard to scout. And I hear that from people like that. I listen to Daniel Jeremiah and I listen to Bucky Brooks a lot. and I also listen to Locked On NFL Scouting. I listen to them, and they kind of, you hear it, and I just learn from them. I'm like, okay, offensive line and deep, that hit rate is very low. I mean, you just don't know what a lot of these guys, and I'm just like, okay, how do I make sure that I look at these guys through a very I guess it's a strict lens, man. I have to be really on point with the DBs because, like, okay, like in HBCU football, we have a lot of DBs. Your common DB in HBCU football is safety, about 5'11", 185. That's what I've noticed in everything I look at. I'm like, he's 5'11", 185, 5'11", 185, 5'11", 185. There's a lot of guys that are like shorter, slightly compact, rangy, versatile guys. So I'm like, what in the heck are they going to play? So with Daniel Jeremiah kind of kept it simple. He's like, when you're looking at a defensive back, he's like, listen, can they do 2 of the 3 things? Be a center fielder, play in a box, play in a nickel. Can they do 2 of those 3 things? And if they can do 2 of those 3 things, you're working with something here. If they can't do none of them, then you ain't worry about it. But if they could do one, then it's like, okay, room for improvement. And we have a lot of defensive backs in HBCU football that can do, I will say, they can do 2 or 3 things. Like I know, like Kenny Gallup is a guy I talk about a lot. He is a 5'11", 210-pound thumping safety that could play in the slot, and he could play in the nickel, and then he could play in the box. But he also shows some coverage skills as a center fielder. But then you got Khalil Baker, who I think will be a primary nickel guy. You got Javon Morgan, another primary nickel guy. So I could I can talk about these guys all day. But all in all, yes, the defensive backs came like my second favorite. My third, I'll say, to end it off, I'll probably say I'm gonna be honest. I like the line. It's a very cliche answer, but I like watching the linebackers too because I like watching. Yeah! I do. I can't help it though.
Let's go.
I got to sit and watch this year in Summer Scout. I got to sit and watch Bubba Adams, Isaiah Major. I mean, I got to watch Q Townsell from Hampton. I mean, God, the list goes on, though. I have so many guys I've been watching. Oh, Lewis Matthews, can't forget him. He's my number 1 line. And it's just like, wow, they all play so different. And it's just like, wow, you can't put these guys in the box. And it's like, I know a lot of people try to put certain players in the box. Like, no, they're 2 totally different players, man. So I thoroughly enjoy watching linebackers play. I just like that that tenacious, just like run to the football thing. That's why I love Lewis Matthews. I could watch I've been watching his tape thoroughly for about 2-3 years now. And I've just been loving watching him just grow and just become such a rangy, solid in pass coverage, thumping motor. The only thing is a knock, he's 5'11". But I can't call it. I got a good grade on him. I don't care. I'll lay on my sword for him. He's a guy that you just have to have in your life. He's like an Aubrey. He might not be the prototype or the intent. You might not have a typical prototype that you like, but it's like you have that hustle.
He's a what?
What?
You said he's a what?
Who?
Lewis Matthews? Aubrey?
Yeah. No. I'm saying he's similar to Aubrey just due to like the size. Like
Aubrey Miller.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I thought you said Arby's. Like we have the meats, like Arby's.
No. I don't know. Yeah, flag on.
Look. Your flag. Look, man. Okay, let's get into some things that make up Gerald Huggins outside of football, life beyond football, beyond scouting, and beyond all of those things. Because as you can see, we're having a lot of fun. Yeah. And this is very simple. This is more like what we do when we get off of camera.
Pretty much.
So let's continue that. Let's continue that momentum. And let's talk about some of the things that we talk about off camera, mainly Southern music, as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. And if you are a business owner, LinkedIn is the only place that you need to be. And I say that because if it's the first place you go, you won't go anywhere else. They have every single person you need to look for. Over 800 million people use LinkedIn. So all you have to do is use the purple hashtag hiring frame, and you can post your job for free to where everybody gets to see it. And when those people see it, you get to see their resume. You get to see how qualified they are. No more wasting your time with people who you're seeing their resume for the first time when they sit down in front of you. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your energy. And it just takes longer to find the perfect piece. And that's what LinkedIn provides for you extremely quickly. So go to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege, post your job for free using the purple hashtag hiring frame, and get the right fit as quick as possible. As we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked on HBCU, I appreciate you for making us your first listen of the day every day. Whew. I'm very excited. This one is very fun for me. I'm having a good time. I got my guy, Gerald Huggins. Look, this is really my guy for real. He up in New York. This my man's. That's how y'all talk, right? This my man's for real. So we always had this New York Southern thing, right? So I'm not going to ask you to go New York versus Southern. Instead, I'm going to put you in a position where you have to highlight some of the best hip hop artists to ever come out of the South. Who are your top 5 Southern rap artists of all time?
Why did you do this to me? All right.
Yeah. And I asked the questions too.
Mine is people are not probably going to like mine, but
okay.
I thoroughly enjoy Big Crit.
I
thoroughly enjoy Big Crit. Ludacris is heavily underrated.
Okay.
Nelly was my first rap album I ever bought.
Okay.
First one I ever
you said
bought.
Nelly?
Nelly was the first rap
I don't
album.
know, man. I ain't counting Nelly, bro.
Missouri.
I got Nelly in the Midwest, man. I got Nelly in the Midwest. Is Missouri the South? Let me look. I don't know, man. I'm counting Nelly. I'm counting Nelly with the.
Okay, fine. Even if we take out Nelly, I would say I do enjoy listening to, Andre 3K. I do love Andre 3K. Currency, I know people don't, he is a Southern, but the thing about Currency that was so confusing because growing up, I didn't know he was from the Deep South, but because the way he rapped, I guess I didn't hear no disrespect. I didn't hear the drawl that, I used to hear from, Southerners growing up. So I'm like, Currency's from the South? Oh, word. So, and then I attribute the DMV to the South. So Wale's one of my favorite rappers. Yeah, Wale's one of my favorite rappers ever. Like that's my guy. And I like Shy Glizzy. I'm not saying he's my top, just throwing it out there. He's like he's just a random guy. You're like, Gerald listens to Shy Glizzy? Yeah, I do. I can't. My family's from DC, so it's like I've been ingrained in that way. So like Wale, Shy Glizzy, and Fat Trail, all of them. So I know about them. And I love Go. Brooklyn Night. Love Go-Go. So I will say, I know now they might not be my favorite, but I will always show love, to Texas. I will say Mike Jones was the guy I listened to when I was younger. Paul Wall. I listened to them when I was younger, so I'll give Texas some love. We're gonna
work on you naming Texas artists and Mike Jones not being one of the first 5 you name. We're gonna work on it.
He was very hot at a point. He's not Scarface clearly, but he was definitely.
I feel like Face should have been first, but like we gotta have. I'm gonna give you when we get off here. I'm gonna give you the 5 people I feel like you gotta name before Mike Jones. But
and
we did this once before.
Yes, we did, and I just gotta say, Lil Wayne was elite, but that has long passed, and I need people from the South to let it go. He ain't been good since 2012. Let it go. All right, he ain't been good.
I'm gonna let you go on that hill. I'm not the biggest Wayne fan either, but I'm gonna let you go on that. He ain't been good since 2012 hill. Look, okay, so we got some of these Southern artists. Now just rappers in general. I want you to build your dream rapper. So I have 5 categories. I have 5 categories, and I want you to give an artist for each. You can only use an artist one time. Now, because I know you might regret one of your picks, I'll allow you to swap one time. One swap, okay?
Okay.
You got to have a rapper, and you start off with his delivery. We can include flow and how he says it. Delivery.
Oh, delivery.
Mm-hmm.
His flow and how he's ODB.
Okay. Lyrics. I know what it's going to be.
Nas.
Yeah, I knew it. Live performance.
DMX.
Great answer.
You can't even be mad at that one.
Great answer. Artist persona.
Ooh, 50 Cent.
I like it. Catalog.
Why you maybe you got? I mean, I have to pick them twice, but I'm not going to. So just
You can
off the
swap
strength
them, and
of
then you can choose somebody else's lyrics.
lyricists, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna swap it.
Okay. So you got
When it
Nas's
comes-
catalog.
Yeah, Nas's catalog, but my lyricists, like low key, no one's gonna inspect the deck.
Okay. Okay. That's
What?
it's very New York. Very New York. It's okay. It's okay. I expect this. I expected this. You know, I was hoping maybe I could get an Andre 3000 somewhere in the bunch, but it's all right.
You want me to do a Southern version?
No. I feel like I've already made you suffer enough by telling you the top 5. So, but I want to move to something we have in common is jiu-jitsu, right? You probably didn't know because I don't think we talk about this, but I'm actually a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. So, yeah, I did it a while ago. Did when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a no gi or a gi type of guy?
Dog, oh my god, I hate both. It depends on how my mood is, dog. Because I lost I lost a match because the guy. When I tell you, I slammed this guy all up and down the mat. Mm-hmm. But I guess you get more points. They said you get more points for attempted submissions than you do for slamming the dude. So I'm over here just right. That's exactly how they explained it to me, dog. I will show you the video. It's on YouTube. When I was cooking, and the dude, he took my gi, and put it over my nose like this.
Okay.
And they call that attempted submission. You know, stuff like this. So my thing, I have this fear of getting, I had a fear of getting choked, like getting choked by something or whatever. So that's why I like, you know what? I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just try this BJJ. I did African martial arts, Eggbeo, going wrestling. I did Greco when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? I do kickboxing. But I was like, let me just try this. But when I took that gi, if I had to pick,
and for those who don't know, the gi is for those who might not know, because not everybody is watching jiu-jitsu tournaments and things of that nature. The gi is essentially.
Your
I don't want my real jiu-jitsu people to be upset with me. Right? It's basically the uniform, right? It's the uniform that the belt ties together. It's long sleeve. It's long pants. Meanwhile, no gi is typically a tight shirt. A rash guard, a tight shirt, and then some shorts. So that's kind of the difference. That's what we're talking about. Think of it like jacket, no jacket, to put it in regular wardrobe sense. Go ahead. They're gonna be mad at me if they really watch this.
For the same reasons I don't like gi, I love it because when I first got really good at it, I had to stop for some personal reasons. I was on my way to a blue belt, but I literally was choking people out with their gi, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I'll be placed behind them, and I would grab their right gi, pull it down. I'll grab the left one and then come around their neck, and I'll pull it like, oh man, it was like a bow and arrow, dog. Oh, I forgot the name of that. Oh, it was beautiful. I had dudes tap. Oh, it's nothing like making someone tap, dog. Like you could tap somebody up, hit them in the jaw, but if you make someone tap and definitely they don't want to tap, all right, man, I need you to tap. Okay, you don't want to tap. Okay, you gonna go to sleep. Oh, it's nothing like it, though. And I bring that to football. So that's why my kids that I train, like I was telling you before the show, like if they was in the street, I know they'll be fine. Because at the end of the day, they'll always know. Parry that hand, boom. Parry the hand, boom. Or hey, listen, if he got good hands, take him to the ground. Because I bet you, most people cannot. Like imagine you fighting and I just go to my back. And I just like this. Dude's like, what is he doing? I'm like, come on, try. Come on. Because when I learned to fight, you know how to fight from your back? It's amazing, dog.
It is. And I want to take that because you made a good point translating into football. And I want to bring things back to football because I want to discuss what you have done since you stopped playing because you went into sports media and you went into coaching. And I want to discuss that as we continue with Locked On HBCU. Today's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. And just like with a championship team, your car requires the right fit. There's no having the wrong fit when it comes to eBay Motors because once you put your car into the My Garage section. They're going to only allow you to purchase the parts that actually fit your vehicle. So let's say that you have a Dodge Challenger. They're not going to let you pick up the pieces for a Cadillac Escalade. Like, they're not going to do that. Right. So no need worrying, do I have the right one? Put your car in the My Garage section and you can guarantee it right fit guaranteed. Meaning, if that part does not fit your vehicle, you get your money back guaranteed. And any part that you need is going to be on eBay Motors because they have over 120 million parts. Let's make the extremely simple decision. Go to ebaymotors.com. eBay Motors. Let's ride. And as we continue rolling on today's episode of Locked on HBCU, I appreciate you for making us your first listen of the day every day, making it all the way to segment 3. And I thank you 2 times for that. We have a good friend of the show, really family member of the show, to be honest, Gerald Huggins on here breaking down not only Draft HBCU, we've discussed his life beyond football, but then also let's discuss your life after your playing days of football. Since playing at Virginia Union, you've written, you have scouted, and you have coached. I want you to rank those 3 as far as what made you feel the most fulfilled.
Ooh. Damn. I'm going to go with the thing that I would love to do for the rest of my life, and that's scouting. Scouting really challenged me because it was something completely new that I thought would not be as hard because I was such a football mind. And when I look back at my old work, I'm like, wow, man, I really had to work my butt off to be good at this. Like, it took me people that I look up to, they tell me about my work and they said it's good. So I mean, I'm telling these people, I respect their opinion and they wouldn't lie to me. And I'm just like, wow, okay, I can do this for the rest of my life. And that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. So I think coaching brought a different aspect of mentorship to it. But I know with scouting, I built relationships with players and coaches that I could have done the same way I did just with coaching. And with scouting, I still get to do my media stuff. Technically, I got to write a bunch of reports. Man, I have to, promote the guys on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, LinkedIn, Threads. It's too many social media platforms right now. But I promote them. So, I think scouting kind of brings my coaching aspect to it and my media aspect to it. So I think that's kind of what makes me, a solid up and coming guy in the business.
Okay, I like that. Now, what was the moment where you knew you were done with football? Because some people after college and they're like, okay, I want to go to try to pursue this avenue. I want to try to pursue that avenue. What was the moment where you said, I have to accept that football is not for me in the playing sense?
Man, it was right after we lost to Virginia State in 2014, dog. I just knew I was it. I had a year. I have a year left. I joke about it on Twitter when I post my little videos and stuff. But at that point, man, I went through so much with football, dog. Between high school and my coaches they never taught me any. I didn't learn anything in high school. And I'll tell that to their face. They know that. I didn't learn a thing. I didn't learn how to pass rush until I got to college, man. I couldn't recognize blocking schemes until I got to college. So I get to college. Of course, I had the red shirt. Because I was never a freak athlete. I was a good athlete. No, sorry. Let me go to my scouting. Let me go to my scouting terminology. I was average athlete. I was average. All right. I was average, but I was strong. I was smart. But I was a technician, dog. Once you taught me something, like, okay, I could split a double team like no other. My coach would tell you I was probably the best run stop you ever seen, dog. I could stop the run. It was a pride thing, though. And, I just realized that, after all the years of having to fight and claw, and I finally got the chance to start college football, man. It was just like I started a whole year after pledging, lost weight, all types of stuff. And I dealt with my mom passed in 2012, so I had to get through that. And a lot of other outside stuff was just happening. And it was just like, man, I think it was that sigh of relief, like, wow, I did it. Because my mom never got to see me play college football. She passed after my senior year of high school. So I was like, my dad was in the stands, my sister was in the stands, the people that matter were there. And I was like, you know what? I gave it my all. I cried, gave myself 30 seconds, wiped my tears, and I transitioned. And I just started working, undergrad assistant for the football team. I started working with the Redskins at the time, go traveling back and forth to DC to go to games on the weekends after I would coach during the weekend. You know, it was that time. I was like, okay, time to transition. I started working at ESPN, and then it was just about that time, though. And I'm glad I did, man, because I'd be forgetting stuff sometimes. And I'm like, I can't imagine if I would have tried to play football 10 more years. My brain would have been oatmeal. Like, I'm just so glad that I got out when I did. I got homies that played long time. They still playing. I'm like, dog. All right. Like, I look at my kids. I'd be like, they be hitting each other. I'd be like, ooh, dang.
We were doing that to each other.
Yeah, man. I'm like, dang, I know that hurt. Dog. Oh, man. And I used to be a guy hit my head all the time. That was my thing. We were headhunters in high school. That's how we would talk. We just, this part of your head. Like,
you can't say that. You can't tell them. We already talk like that.
I do not teach my players that. I'm just saying that's what I did, and it was effective for me. However,
because we grew up in the era of highlight big hits. Like Here Comes the Boom was one of the greatest soundtracks to highlights to ever exist. I couldn't even imagine Here Comes the Boom being a soundtrack to a highlight tape now, because it's not the same anymore.
No, it's not the same. Form tackling, stripping the ball. Okay, like I used to maybe wake up and watch the NFL used to on ESPN. Boomer and them used to have the
Tom Jackson
jacked up.
Yeah.
They used to have the jack. I'm like, they should live for that. Man, I don't see none of that. Derwin James, I'm surprised he can even play football right now because he hit people way too hard. They getting tired of him hitting people. When he did that thing to Kelsey, I'm surprised they ain't freaking get rid of him. Because I'm just like, yo, he's one of those few because those big thumping safeties don't work anymore. They just don't. You better kick your butt to LB, or you better learn how to tackle these receivers a little lighter. I mean, jokingly, of course they can still hit hard if they want to, as long as it's legal. But I look at those. I look back. I'm like, I got out at the right time, though. I started a career. I did a lot of stuff after that, man. I went to grad school, started a couple companies. I just did a bunch of stuff just to stay busy. And then I realized one day I missed football. So I took about, from really being in football, I took maybe about 4 years off, man. And 4 years. And then when I got back, so that was probably around 2020, 2021 when I started talking to Malik. Yeah, I took a while from football, a long time. And, it was supposed to happen, man. I don't question things. Everything happened for a reason. I believe in that. And even if I don't like the reason, it happened. And I just got to embrace it for what it is. You know what I mean?
Gerald, I mean this sincerely, and I think you know this, man. This feels like my most important feature Friday that I've done. And I've highlighted a bunch of people, man. Like, I'm not going to say anybody by name. I don't want to slander anything. But I've done a lot. But you've come on the show. You contributed to the show. You've been a key part of the last 2 draft cycles and things in between. So I'm extremely appreciative for every contribution that you've made here. And it meant a lot that I could reach out and I could help tell part of your story and highlight not only the football mind that you are, but the great person that you are. Like, we're here we really are kicking it. And I want people to really genuinely understand that not after the first segment, but this whole 30 minutes is legitimately what we do as soon as the camera cuts off. It's imagine you are at work and you clock off and who you become. That's us. And you got to see an insight into that relationship today. And it meant a lot that I could come in and I could highlight exactly who you are and what you have done. And I can't wait to see the places that you're going and the things that you're going to accomplish. I appreciate you not only for today, but then also for everything that you've done before. My guy, my man, if we talking New York style, my guy, Coach Gerald Huggins, thank you so much. To everybody listening, I appreciate you as well. And I'm happy that you were able to sit in on what I consider just a hangout. But in the meantime, in between time, make sure you guys follow him on Twitter, on X, whatever the heck we calling it these days, at Coach_Huggins Jr. And until the next time that we hear each other, family, take care. Stay blessed. Peace. Oh, wait. G, I have a new initiative. I need you to do this before we go. I need to play my music out of you. I need to play my music out of you before we get up out of here, man.
Out of me,
Yeah,
I got,
that's it.
I got right now. All right, right. All right.
Let me get it.
Play my music.
My guy.
Yeah.